My sister confessed she was in love with my fiancé at our rehearsal dinner, then tried to replace me. There's no textbook that tells you what to do when the person you trust most turns out to be the one planning your downfall. And if there was, I wouldn't have believed it applied to me. Because for most of my life, my younger sister Brittany was my person. Not in the cliché Instagram caption way. I mean, we were inseparable. Growing up in Madison, Wisconsin, in a house with 2 overworked parents and 0 privacy, Brittany and I survived everything side by side. We had twin beds in the same room till high school. We shared secrets over chipped nail polish and lukewarm soda. We promised we'd always, no matter what, put each other first. And for a long time, we did. It's wild how fast things can shift when love enters the room. Real love. I met Josh at Lincoln Valley College. He was finishing his degree in mechanical engineering. I was wrapping up my final year in journalism and interning part-time at the Chicago Journal. He was the classic guy who everyone assumes is taken. Confident but not cocky, a smile that didn't look forced, and the kind of steady presence that made you forget there were other people in the room. He noticed me first. Or at least, he acted like he did. We were both attending a mutual friend's trivia night. I remember I got the James Cameron film's question wrong, and he leaned over, grinned, and whispered, "You just lost us the game, rookie." That's how it started. Light teasing turned into long talks. Long talks turned into text threads that lasted until 3 a.m. And 3 weeks later, we were official. Brittany was thrilled. At first, she was 2 years younger than me, studying early education at Ohio State, and still living at home. When she came up to visit me on weekends, she and Josh hit it off immediately. Too well, actually. But I chalked it up to her outgoing personality. Brittany always had that spark, the kind of girl that made waiters smile, dogs follow her, and people trust her instantly. Josh laughed at all her jokes. She laughed a little too hard at his. It was harmless, wasn't it? The thing is, Josh was great about boundaries. He never flirted with her, never crossed a line, never made me feel like I had to compete. But Brittany? She started acting off. It was subtle at first. Little digs. Wow, Josh really listens to me. I mean, not that you're not a good communicator. You're lucky he likes quiet girls. Most guys hate when women don't speak up. I shrugged it off. Sisters tease, right? But over time, the jokes weren't jokes. They were darts, disguised in giggles and wrapped in sisterly love. When Josh proposed, Brittany was the first person I called. She screamed so loud I had to pull the phone away. "You're engaged? Holy crap. I'm gonna be maid of honor, right?" I laughed. Of course. Who else? That was a mistake. I should have waited. Planning the wedding was a storm I didn't see coming. Brittany inserted herself into every decision. Not just dress shopping, which she tried to take over completely, but flower arrangements, DJ playlists, venue scouting, even the food tastings. And when I told her I wanted to keep it small, just 40 guests, she scoffed. "Are you kidding? I already told my sorority friends. We'll need at least 80 seats. It's not your party, Britt. I'm just saying. Think bigger." I thought she was being pushy. Turns out, she was trying to make it hers. Then came the rehearsal dinner. The night everything cracked open. But we'll get there. Not yet. A few weeks before the dinner, Josh and I had a fight. A small one. About nothing. But Brittany was there visiting for the weekend, and she pounced on it. "Wow, you two fight like an old married couple already." "Everyone fights," I said, brushing it off. "Yeah, but he looked really frustrated." Just saying. It wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. Like she was planting seeds. Then she started texting him. At first, it was wedding stuff. Then funny TikToks she thought he'd like. Then memes about how hard it is to be the sibling of the bride. I asked him about it. Josh shrugged. "She's just being Brittany." He was right. But I was wrong. One night, I found Brittany sitting on the couch with Josh while I was getting ready for bed. She was wearing my hoodie, feet tucked up like she owned the place. And when I walked in, she didn't even flinch. "We were just watching something," she said. Josh looked over, almost guilty. "Yeah, that show you told me to try." My stomach twisted. But I said nothing. Because what do you say? To your sister? To your fiancé? When you don't have proof, just instinct. The week before the wedding, things exploded. Josh pulled me aside. "Your sister, she's intense." "What now?" "She told me I should reconsider rushing into marriage." I blinked. "She said what?" "She said she's worried I'm not seeing the real you. That you're unstable." My breath caught. "She said I'm unstable?" He nodded. "I thought you should know." I confronted her. "And Brittany?" Didn't even blink. "I was just looking out for you," she said. "By telling my fiancé I'm unstable? You're always so sensitive." It was a joke. You're not funny. Neither is this wedding. That shut me up. Because it wasn't just a joke. It was jealousy. I told her she was out of the bridal party. She cried, then stormed out. Didn't speak to me for a week, but she still came to the rehearsal dinner. And that was the night she detonated everything. There are some memories that stick like glass in your brain. That night is all shards. We held our rehearsal dinner at a small restaurant in downtown Madison. Nothing fancy, just 65 guests, close friends, parents, a few coworkers, Josh's siblings, and my now fractured bridal party. Brittany wasn't supposed to come. After I removed her as maid of honor, she ghosted me for days. But around 7 p.m., right as the first toast began, she walked in. Wearing white. It wasn't a wedding gown, but it was close. Floor-length, satin, V-neck dress that screamed for attention. People actually gasped. And me? I froze. Josh stood up. What is she doing here? I didn't invite her. She walked in like she owned the place, kissed my dad on the cheek, waved to Josh's mom, and slid into an open seat like she'd never left. I walked over. What are you doing, Brittany? You told me not to come. You didn't say I couldn't show up. That's literally the same thing. Relax. You should be happy your sister still wants to support you. After everything you've said? I was hurt. You blindsided me. But I realized. I still love you. I didn't believe a word. But it was a public event. So I walked back. Sat down. Tried to breathe. She waited until the second round of toasts to light the match. Josh's brother stood up to speak. Funny, heartfelt, exactly the right vibe. People laughed. Clinked glasses. Then Brittany pushed her chair back and stood. If no one minds, I'd like to say something. The room fell silent. Josh looked at me. I shook my head. He whispered, Want me to stop her? I hesitated. Too long. She raised her glass. To Josh and Taylor, she began. To love and to honesty. The kind of honesty that keeps people together. That doesn't hide behind fake smiles or awkward silences. People shifted uncomfortably. I felt my heart stop. Because real love, real love, doesn't show up all at once. Sometimes it grows slow. Sometimes it sneaks up on you. Sometimes it happens when you least expect it. I stood up. Okay, that's enough. She turned to me, smiling like a villain in a soap opera. You always interrupt me. You're not making a toast. You're making a scene. She turned back to the crowd. I'm not trying to cause trouble. I just think it's important we all know what love really looks like. Pause. Then, Josh, I love you. Silence. Like actual silence. You could hear someone drop a fork 2 tables over. Josh stood up slowly, his face pale. Brittany, what the hell are you doing? Telling the truth. You don't love me. You said it first. Now everyone was staring at him. Me. Her. I walked out. Not crying. Not screaming. Just numb. Glass brain kind of numb. Josh followed me. I didn't say anything to her. I swear. She said you said it first. She's lying. I turned to him. Then tell me right now, did you ever give her a reason to think that? Long pause. No. But I didn't shut it down fast enough. And just like that, my heart broke clean in half. The rehearsal dinner ended in chaos. Brittany was escorted out by one of Josh's cousins. My parents did nothing. My mom whispered, she's just emotional. My dad muttered, she didn't mean it. That's when I realized. They knew. Not about the love confession, but about everything else. The jealousy, the manipulation. They watched it build and said nothing. Because to them, this was just sisters being sisters. The next morning, I canceled the wedding. Not forever, but definitely not that weekend. Guests were furious. Vendors even more so. I lost our $1,500 deposit on the venue. The florist refused a refund. The bakery was already baking the cake. But I didn't care. I couldn't walk down that aisle with that weight on my back. Not when I couldn't trust the people behind me. Brittany texted the next day. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. You were sober when you bought the dress. You're overreacting. You confessed your love for my fiancé. He wasn't yours first. That one hit hard. I never knew how much she resented me until that moment. All our childhood memories, the sleepovers, the shared diary, the you and me forever, it all twisted in my mind. How long had she been waiting for me to fail? Josh tried to fix things. Flowers. Letters. Calls. She was unwell. I froze. I should have spoken sooner. I believed him. Sort of. But I also saw something I couldn't unsee. He liked the attention. Maybe not on purpose. But he enjoyed being wanted. Even if it was by the wrong person. We postponed everything. For 3 months. I needed space. Josh gave it. Brittany? Not so much. She posted vague TikToks about betrayal and not being invited to the wedding she paid for, which was laughable because she didn't pay for anything. Then she posted a photo of her and Josh from months ago. Captioned, "We looked good, didn't we?" That was the final straw. I blocked her on everything, changed my number, told my parents I was done. "She's your sister," my mom said. "No," I replied. "She's your daughter, and you can keep her." 3 months. That's how long I gave us. 3 months to heal, to step back, to figure out if this thing, me and Josh, was real without the chaos orbiting us like a cursed moon. Spoiler? It wasn't. But the breakup didn't hit like a wrecking ball. It was slower, like someone draining the oxygen from the room one breath at a time. We met at a coffee shop one rainy Sunday. Neutral territory. No pressure. No rings. Josh looked tired. Not in the overworked, wedding planning kind of way. More like someone who'd been pretending too long and forgot how to relax. I ordered tea. He got black coffee. No sugar. Fitting. We made small talk. Weather. His new job. My freelance piece that got published in Chicago Journal. Then came the question I'd been sitting on for weeks. Did you ever have feelings for her? He didn't look up. Didn't blink. Just sipped his coffee. No, don't lie. I'm not. Then why didn't you tell her to stop? Another pause. Because I didn't want to lose you. That answer should have comforted me. Instead, it hollowed me out. Because it wasn't about love. It was about fear. Fear of consequences. Fear of confrontation. Fear of being alone. I leaned back in my chair. You didn't want to lose me, but you didn't fight for me either. That's not fair. No, it's not. But neither was what she did. And you let it happen. I froze. Yeah, and I bled. We didn't fight. No yelling. No dramatic scene with someone storming out and knocking over a coffee mug. We just sat there, quiet, watching the end roll in like slow fog. Then he said it. Soft. Almost merciful. Maybe we rushed it. Maybe. Maybe we just got swept up in it. Maybe. Maybe it wasn't love. Not real love. Yeah, that was it. No second engagement. No new date. Just 2 people with cold drinks and too many maybes to count. I moved out the next week. Back to my tiny apartment on the east side. The one with bad water pressure and neighbors who played ska at 2 a.m. But at least it was mine. Brittany found out a few days later. She sent a text. Wow, you really blew it. Blocked. She tried calling from a different number. Blocked again. Then she messaged one of my old high school friends, asking if I was okay. I replied through them. Tell her she doesn't get to ask that. A week after the breakup, I got a package. No return address. Inside? My engagement ring. No note. Just the ring. That hit harder than I expected. Because I knew Josh hadn't sent it. Brittany had. She took it. Kept it. Held onto it like a souvenir. Like a trophy. I started therapy that month. Didn't tell anyone. Not my mom. Not my best friend. Not even my roommate. Because saying I'm in therapy would have meant admitting I'd been cracked open in a way I didn't want to acknowledge. But I went. And my therapist, Donna, said something in session 3 that I haven't been able to forget. Sometimes betrayal doesn't look like knives. Sometimes it looks like silence. And silence can leave scars just as deep. She was right. Josh didn't stab me. He just watched me bleed. Meanwhile, Brittany was flourishing. At least online. She posted bikini photos from Florida. Captioned, "Healing never looked this hot." She posted a reel from a club in Nashville. Hashtagged it. Hashtag wife material. Hashtag his loss. Hashtag unbothered. It was performative healing. Loud. Glossy. Fake. The kind of I'm over it energy that smells like desperation. But I ignored it. Until I couldn't. A friend sent me a screenshot. Brittany had gone on a podcast. Some local girl talk show that covered dating, drama, and toxic women reclaiming power. She titled her episode, "My Sister Took My Man, So I Took My Power Back." Except, I never took her man. And she never had any power. Just spite. In the episode, she told half-truths twisted into full-blown fiction. She always overshadowed me. I just wanted someone to see me. Josh and I had a real connection. She was just too selfish to admit it. I saved him. From a mistake. People commented, "You're so brave." She sounds like the toxic one. Glad you spoke your truth. I didn't reply. Didn't rage post. Didn't call her. Because what's the point in arguing with someone who thinks lies are just alternative angles? Instead, I did something better. I wrote an op-ed for Chicago Journal, titled, "When the Enemy Wears Your Face, What It Means to Be Betrayed by Blood." It wasn't about Brittany directly, but she knew, and I knew she knew, because 2 days later, she went radio silent. The article got traction, not viral, just enough to matter. People emailed me, women, sisters, fiancés, Even moms. This is my story. I thought I was alone. You're brave. Funny. I never felt brave. Just broken and loud about it. But slowly, I healed. I cut off Brittany for good. Changed my last name professionally. Moved cities. Started fresh. And the best part? I stopped apologizing for taking up space. Because if losing them meant finding myself, then maybe I never lost at all. The call came on a Sunday. Of course it did. Because if there's one thing my mom's mastered, it's weaponizing the Sabbath. She always believed Sundays were for healing, for starting over, for family. So when her name lit up on my phone, I already knew what the script would be. I let it ring. 3 times. 4. Then I picked up. Hello, Taylor. Her voice had that tight, forced calm, the one she used whenever she was about to say something absolutely unhinged, but wanted to sound like a therapist instead of a mother. Hi, Mom. I've been thinking. Dangerous. Silence. This situation with your sister, it's gone on long enough. I said nothing. She continued. I know she hurt you. I'm not excusing it. But don't you think it's time to move forward? Life's too short to cut off your only sibling. That line. That guilt-drenched, manipulative little line? I felt my jaw tighten. I didn't cut her off. She walked off the cliff. I just stopped building bridges under her. She's trying, Taylor. No. She's pretending. On camera. To people who don't know better. She's your sister. And I'm your daughter. Where was this grace when I needed you to stand up for me? Silence. Then, low and practiced, we just want peace. I laughed. No, you want silence. Not the same thing. Later that week, my dad called. Same script. Deeper voice. You've always been the strong one. The mature one. Be the bigger person. Why is it always the hurt person who has to be the bigger one? He sighed. You don't want this anger to follow you forever. Then maybe don't defend the person who lit the match. I realized something in those calls. They didn't want healing. They wanted convenience. A version of family where no one had to take accountability, where we could all move on without ever stopping to ask what we were moving on from. Then came the birthday. Mine. I turned 29. Quiet dinner with 2 friends. Movie. Ice cream. Simple. No big plans. I wasn't in the mood to perform happiness. At around 8 p.m., I checked my phone. Missed call. Mom. Voicemail. I listened. Her voice was tight again. Not calm this time, irritated. It's your birthday. Your father and I have been trying to reach you. Brittany baked you something. We were hoping you'd come by, but I guess that's not happening. Click. I stood there in my apartment, staring at the floor. Because it hit me in a weird way. Not sadness. Not anger. Just clarity. They weren't calling to celebrate me. They were calling to test me. To see if I'd fold. To see if I'd finally beat the bigger person and return to the family system like a good soldier. So I did what I should have done years ago. I wrote a letter. Not to them. To me. Dear Taylor, you're not the villain for choosing peace. You're not heartless for refusing to drink poison just because it's served at a family table. You have spent too long shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable. You've outgrown their script. And from now on, you're the author. I printed it. Framed it. Hung it by the door. Every time I leave my apartment, I see it. Every time I think, maybe I should just call back. I read it again. And walk out. Free. That same week, I saw Brittany had deleted all her social media. Rumor from a mutual friend said she moved to Denver. Started working at some wellness studio. Probably rebranded as B. Maybe that's good for her. Maybe she's growing. Maybe she's lying to a whole new audience. Doesn't matter. Because I'm not in that story anymore. My parents still text sometimes. Small things. Photos of their dog. Sales at Costco. Bible verses. But no more talks about coming back together. I think they finally got the message. Or maybe they just got tired of being left on read. Sometimes, I wonder what Thanksgiving will look like in 5 years. 2 tables? 2 houses? 2 stories will tell to different groups of people? Maybe. But I know this. My table will have truth on it. And that's more nourishing than any casserole they can fake. Healing doesn't look like I thought it would. It's not yoga retreats or aesthetic journals with pressed flowers. It's not forgiveness written in cursive or tearful reunions where everyone magically changes. Sometimes, healing just means choosing yourself. Over and over and over again. Even when no one claps. Even when they call it selfish. It's been a year now. Since the wedding that wasn't. Since the confession in white satin. Since the ring came back in a box I never asked for. Since I closed the door on a family that said love was unconditional, but attached conditions to every breath. I moved again. Not far. Just far enough. New apartment, new bookshelves, new energy. No ghosts here. I wake up with silence that belongs to me. I drink coffee that tastes like freedom. I see my reflection and no longer flinch or search for someone else's opinion in my own face. Brittany hasn't reached out. Not once. No emails. No, I've changed monologues. No new accounts trying to lure me back into the same dance with different shoes. And honestly, that silence feels like peace. The first real kind I've known since I was old enough to compete for attention at the dinner table. Josh messaged me once. Just a few words. I hope you're doing well. I was a coward. You deserved better. I didn't reply. Not out of anger. Just closure. Because I didn't need it anymore. My therapist asked me a few weeks ago, if your sister apologized, really apologized, what would you do? I sat with that question longer than I expected. Then I said, I'd let her. But I wouldn't let her back in. She smiled. Not proud. Not smug. Just acknowledging that I finally got it. See, they all thought I was fragile. That I'd crack, or cry, or come crawling back. Because that's the narrative they needed. The emotional one. The too sensitive sister. The dramatic daughter. But here's what no one prepared for. I got strong in silence. I built a spine out of solitude. I found peace without permission. And maybe that makes me the villain in someone's version of this story. But if being the villain means saving myself from the cycle, so be it. Paint me black. One of my closest friends, the one who stood by me when I canceled the wedding and everyone else whispered behind my back, said something I'll never forget. We were walking home from brunch, laughing about something ridiculous, when she turned to me and said, "You didn't lose a sister. You dodged a second betrayal." No? I tell my story when I'm ready. On my terms. Not for revenge. Not for sympathy. But for that one girl scrolling at 2 a.m. with a knot in her chest and a sister who makes her doubt her worth. If you're her, let me be clear. You don't have to bleed to belong. You don't have to keep rebuilding bridges someone keeps lighting on fire. It's okay to walk away from the family you were born into, to protect the one you're building with yourself. My story doesn't end with a reunion. It ends with a mirror. And finally, I like who's staring back. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it too.